Welcome to Sketchmill. This is the first demo I'll be showing off of this project. This is a wrapper for ComfyUI that's meant to help streamline the process of making longer AI generations. For example, if you are working with ComfyUI, you have built out your workflow or maybe used an existing one, these are plenty fine tools. But if you want to make something a little bit larger, say you want to make several cuts, you want to make an animation that is 2 or 3 minutes long, it's very difficult to try and render every single one of these out of the ComfyUI interface. So we built a tool that uses ComfyUI's API to help you with that. This uses the storyboard for your animation as the control panel for the entire process from start to finish. The core function of what it is, we have a timeline up here where we have certain cuts all arranged on a timeline. We can drag them shorter or longer, rearrange them. We can even reorder them, and the storyboard panels will reorder down here for you. Secondly, we have anchors. These are most useful for characters, but they can be used for anything that you need to have drawn consistently. They can accept a textual prompt, they can accept a reference image, or they can accept a LoRa that you've trained if you have trained it for the correct model that you're using in your project here. It'll also accept variants of each of them. Then we have our actual storyboard panels down here. One of the nice things that this will do for you is it will track the progress of your project. Here you see that we have a yellow bar and a yellow sidebar here, a blue one here, and a gray one here. This is showing us, if we scroll down a little bit here, this has a draft quality video rendered. It's rendered at a much lower resolution to save time to see if it looks good. This one over here has a still generated, but there's no animation for it. And this one, well, right now this is just a blank image with a description. Actually, in fact, we don't have a description yet. It's a brand new shot. We haven't done anything yet with it yet. Let's see what this looks like when we have started to build out a storyboard. Here is an example storyboard that I've put together. We've got, looks like 8 still frames. I've got 2 of them that we've removed, don't have any images here. And we've got 2 anchors that are just textual descriptions. We don't have a reference image, we don't have Laura, we have their names, Sunny and Roos. And then we've got our timeline up here. You see we've got 2 blue that have the stills ready, then gray over here, nothing here. Let's take a look at this preview view and see what it shows us so far. In this storyboard, we have the dialogue already written out, as well as the the animation prompt, which is the equivalent of the description of a pane in a storyboard. We'll hit the play button here, and let's let it go through our storyboard. We don't have any images here, so shot 3 and shot 4 are going to be blank, but it'll continue playing through the storyboard with or without them. This can be very useful for voicing over if you'd like, or just timing your shots to figure out exactly how long you want them to be. You can edit the length of your shots right here in the timeline without leaving the preview. Also, you can adjust whether you want to have your subtitles and your panel description shown here as well. We can turn them off if we just want to see our beautiful preview in all of its glory, but I find that's very useful to have. Let's go ahead and exit the preview for now. So this isn't just a storyboarding tool. It's much more than that. The storyboard is the control panel for your entire project, from the very conception of what it's going to look like all the way until you have rendered your final videos. Let's show you how you can do some more of that. We've already gone in and we've written descriptions of the scenes, and then we've written descriptions of the action that's going to happen down here in these prompts. If you like, you can drag and drop images right here into these frames, and then you can use your own. If you like, you can tick this box, and we will then have 2 frames, 2 stills, and we will animate between the 2 of them if you want to have a little bit more control of what your scene looks like. But this is optional. It supports both image to video and image to image, or 2 image to video. This animation prompt is the description that we were showing in our preview, because this is what's going to happen during the scene. You can also reference your anchors in here as well. Now, if you want, you can have somebody else or an artist generate your storyboard for you, and you can just import into each of these scenes if you like. But we're here to do all the work for you if you want. Let's go ahead and hit this generate button here. It's going to pull this prompt, recognizing the anchor, Bruce here, the character up here, and over here is Sunny up here. And these will be referenced in the images that are generated. I'm going to click on both of them because we can queue more than one job at a time. If we're rendering a lot, we can just let our job queue cook. It'll show us approximately how much time is left. If it's a long time, it'll even estimate approximately what time it'll be finished, so you can go out and get lunch and come back to it after it's finished cooking your GPU. Here's one image for us, and here's another one. Now if we go into the preview, let's go back further towards the beginning. Here's our second shot. Here's our brand new third and our brand new fourth. And the rest continues on as normal. If you don't like this, we can insert a new seed or let it randomly generate another one, hit generate again, and we'll have a new image. You can do this as many times as you want, changing the prompt each time if it doesn't look quite the way that you want. Take a look over here. You'll see that it shows version 2 of 2. There's actually 2 images we tried generating for this one. Here's version 1. We didn't like it very much because we wanted to show 2 characters together. So we reworded the prompt and ran generation again. It saved both of them just in case we want to go back. Also, if you go back to an earlier version and we hit the info button, it'll show all the information used to generate it so you can do it again. Here we have the seed. You can quickly reuse by clicking the button. It'll drop it right here into the scene's seed. This is the workflow that was used. Careful about changing this. You'll typically want this to be the same throughout your entire project. This is the default for the project. If we click on reuse, it'll drop it back to the default in case we changed it for some reason. And here's the prompt. If you reuse the exact same prompt with the exact same seed and the exact same workflow, you will get the exact same frame. So now we have endless ability to control all the stills of our storyboard. Let's take a look at the next step when we want to start making some videos. Here is an already done version of our video preview. All we've really done here is we've generated based on every single one of these prompts that we already have. These are the same images that we already came up with, and these are pre-rendered videos that I already did while you guys were skipping that, because that would take a rather long time to generate this much. Let's take a look at the preview and see what it shows. Since we have videos in place now, we're now getting a video preview. And it's also seamless, going exactly between every single video without missing a single beat. We still have our dialogue here so we can see what the characters would be saying if we add in our voice flat matching. We don't have any audio to do that with right now, but we can add voice acting in later if we want. Generally, I recommend adding voice acting before you render your videos because you want to have your pacing timed out rather well. But maybe you're doing something that doesn't require voicing. Maybe it's just a silent video or something you're going to put music over. No problem. We'll put our preview away for now. The videos work the exact same way, where there's a version history that's tracked. And if we pull up info, we can see the exact information used here, including the source still. So for example, let's say we are taking a look at the various different images here, and we want to go back to a different version. We can flip back to a previous version and then hit info and hit reuse still, and it'll flip back to the version of the still that was used to generate this video in case we want to find it again. Another useful feature here is to set the duration of the shot to the video duration. Now, your timeline is used to create in and out points for generations. These are not locked to the length of videos that are rendered. Let's say we rendered a video and we didn't like it and we wanted to change it. We're going to go back to scene 1. We're going to shorten scene 1 here. If we go into the preview, you'll notice a warning here, long take. This video is longer than the amount of time that we have on the timeline, so it's going to warn us about that. We can stretch it back out and the warning goes away, but we want to change it in this case. Now let's say we don't actually like that and we've modified our timeline enough that I can't simply snap it back to the old location it was at. No problem. We'll go into the information here, set shot duration to the video duration, and scene 1 will now be snapped back to the exact length that it should be. We go back to the preview, the warning has gone away, and we only have a little funny gap here that we have left, which the preview will just leave blank. You'll notice that it is actually possible to have shots overlap each other. In practice, you shouldn't do this, but it doesn't harm anything. All it does is we're not allowed to show 2 videos at the same time in the previewer. So it'll show whichever one comes first. Just make sure and fix that if you want to have an accurate preview. It won't stop us from generating them because these times are just used to help us order them. All that matters is that the in and out time is used to show the duration of the shot. For example, this is going to be an exactly 6-second long shot when we hit render on the video. You can also drag and drop videos in here if you like, if you have your existing renders and you don't want to use ones generated from here, or maybe you made them in another project. Whatever you like, feel free to drop them in. If there are problems with it, you will notice on the preview, it'll highlight that the wrong resolution or the wrong frame rate were used if they don't match. And another useful thing that it'll do for you is down here, it will show that it rendered as a draft. Let me show you a quick trick we can use to save us some time when generating some videos. Up here we have quality sliders for the AI generation. If we turn down the steps, it turns down the quality of the model. And if we turn down resolution, it turns down the resolution of the image or video being generated, which can save us a lot of time. I'm going to turn this down to 25%, and I'm going to ask it to regenerate this video. It's going to switch to show video rendering. You'll see this shows both here on the side as well as on the timeline that this one's the current job being worked on. I can queue another one and it'll show that this one is also queued in the timeline as well. Now you see this is not going to take nearly as long as it normally would because we have it set to a very, very low resolution. It's going to look kind of fuzzy when it finishes, but that's okay. All we want to do is let's see if it looks good. Remember, we can reuse things from a generation, such as the seed, the workflow, and the prompt, and the source still. And as long as we do all those things, we can just turn the resolution all the way up, and we will get the exact same video, but rendered at a much, much higher resolution, and it'll look good. If you turn the video quality down, it'll allow you to render a whole bunch of videos in a much shorter amount of time, so you can flip through them and see if you like the results before you waste time rendering the final cut. It should be almost finished. It says about 5 seconds left. We'll see how honest it is about that. While it's doing that, let's take a look at the audio that we can add to it. If we go to the project settings up here, and we switch from timing mode to either audio sync or beat sync, and save the project, we get a new waveform spot. We can click and drag and drop into here, or click add audio to add a file. And here we'll have the waveform show. This is an audio track of a karaoke version of a song in here, the lyrics only, so you could make a music video if you wanted. And you can then time your shots to the music. When you hit play, the music will play along with you. I'm not going to have you listen to the music right now, but you get the idea of how it works. We can drag these shots around to correspond to the music or to the voice acting or whatever you have, narration. Another thing we can do is we can switch it from audio sync to beat sync. If we save here, it's going to take 1 second and it's going to detect the beats of the song. This takes just a moment to finish. And once it does finish, rather than snapping just to other sections of clips or to exact frames, this will now sync. This will now jump to beats of the song. Here we have the beginning of a measure, and by default it's jumping by quarters. And if that's not specific enough for us, up here we can actually set an exact measure and beat that we want to have it in. We can also do fractional numbers as well, and it will accept them. Instead of duration, we have beats shown. And if we want, we can override this by choosing a time anchor. Maybe you have an interlude, or maybe you have a section before the music starts and you don't want a particular shot timed to a beat. You can override the snapping here. Let's take, for example, we'll move shot 2 to the end. And we'll take 1 here. We'll leave it here. And we'll drag this out so that it's at about 2 measures long. This is exactly 2 measures, 8 beats long. Here's the time duration, but this is timed to beats, not to times or frames. This is based on the audio. Now, if we want, we can actually adjust this. Let's say I want the out to be exactly 16 seconds. Now it'll show that it's been time anchored instead of beat anchored. So it'll let you know that this is swapped out. If we now decide to drag number 2 up to it, let's set number 2 to 8.5 beats. This is now a beat synced clip, but we're going to snap clip number 2 to 1, and you'll see that 2 is now time anchored as well because 2 is linked to 1 now. We decided to snap them together. And then we'll have this end on a perfect beat though. You'll see that only the in time is not beat sync. The out sync is synced to a beat. So if we drag 3 to it and we snap, whoop, there we go. Now 3 is going to be beat synced when we have it snapped together. And the whole rest of the song can be beat synced. So 1 maybe is the intro before the song starts, and then 2 is a transition of the song, and then 3 is part of the song, and it's exactly 8 beats long. So that's how we can time our entire storyboard to music. Now let's take a look at our generation down here, see if it finished. We've got 2 versions. Here's 1, here's 2. You notice down here it's tagged as a draft. Why is it a draft? Well, because it was rendered at a much, much lower resolution. If we take a look at our preview, you should notice that it's a little fuzzy. Oh yeah, that's very, very fuzzy. But it'll still play it for us. It'll still play for us. It just will look very, very fuzzy. Here's the rest of our animations that are already rendered at the full quality. I'm going to remove the audio here, and then I'm going to set our project back to freeform, because this is probably best for videos. We'll turn off the preview. Hopefully you can see now how if you are using the proper models and pipelines and workflows for ComfyUI, you can use this entire tool to go from a description or a script all the way down to a finished production. I don't have it built in yet, but you'll be able to render this entire group of shots as one concatenated MP4 file, or you can just hop onto your ComfyUI server and you will see all these in a project folder built by Sketchmill, and you can simply drag each of these into your favorite editor, where you can have a little bit more control over how they're going to be sketched together. You can also have more control over what audio you want to have generated with it. In the future, I plan to add a tool to allow voice sync to add flaps to each of your animations, because right now they're not timed to the voices. They just generate based on the textual prompts. But there are video-to-video tools that will allow you to do that as well, which will come in the near future. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. More features are coming soon, and I hope that I can release this project to you sometime in the next few weeks to few months, depending on how much time I have. Please be sure and follow me on Twitter and YouTube at Elba Labs, because the more support I have, the more time I can justify putting towards projects like this. And I hope to have some cool animations to show you soon. Have a great day.